In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can make your iWeb URL not forward to the site name and first page name. To illustrate what I mean, here is what a typical iWeb URL looks like after typing in the domain name. Notice how ragesw.net turns into ragesw.net/jeremys_golf_shop/clubs.html. Where do each of these parts of this URL come from? This part of the URL, the domain name, is the obvious one, as this is what the user selects and purchases when registering their domain. This second part is the site name, and it comes from this section of the iWeb Publish page. You will also notice it right above the pages in the column on the left. This part of the URL is the page name. It comes from the name you give to your pages in the menu on the left-hand side. So just to give you a bit of background on the way all of this works, whenever you publish an iWeb site, you will see three things right away: the assets file, the site folder, which will have your site name and contain all of your website's files, and an index.html file. When these items get published to your server, and you subsequently type in your domain name in your web browser, your server will default to index.html, which then has a line of code instructing the browser to forward to the first page of your website. That first page of your website is located within the other folder, which is labeled with your site name. Now that we know how all of it works, let's change it so that our URLs are shorter and the browser doesn't forward when we type in our domain name. In other words, we're going to change it so that when you type in your domain name in your web browser, all you will see is the domain. Then, when you click to go to a subsequent page on the site, you will only see the domain name and the page name. This is the normal way that most websites operate. I want to quickly mention that doing this will change the structure of your URL, so if your site ranks in search engines and is giving you traffic, then changing this might hurt those rankings. The first thing we're going to do is change the name of the first page of our website to index. Make sure you type it in just like I have done. You will notice how I used only lowercase letters, and there are no extra spaces or characters. This is an extremely important step, so make sure you follow the instructions as I just outlined. There is one other drawback to doing this. When we change the page name to index, it will show up in our navigation menus as index. If you've watched some of our other tutorials, you will remember how I recommend users to disable the navigation menu that iWeb makes and create your own. Once again, I will recommend doing this, but if you don't want to, just make sure that you at least remove this page out of the navigation menu by clicking on the Inspector button, then clicking on the Page tab, and then unticking the option for Include Page in Navigation menu. If you want your homepage to still have a link in your navigation menu, you can add it via a text link or with an image linked to the homepage. This part is entirely up to you, but I recommend removing the word index from your navigation menu as it might confuse many of your visitors. Our next step is to publish the site to a local folder on our hard drive. To make things as easy as possible, publish the site directly to your desktop. When I say directly to the desktop, I don't mean in a folder on the desktop, but rather directly on the desktop. When we do this, we're going to see those three items that I mentioned earlier: the assets file, the site folder, and the index.html file. All we are going to do is publish just the contents of the site folder. I will show you how to do this using iWeb SEO tool, since I know a lot of users' next step would be to load their site in iWeb SEO tool. So all I will do is drag and drop this folder onto iWeb SEO tool's local sites column. Now you can optimize your site for search engines or press the Reapply Save Tags button to get your old tags back and publish your site. When you are done, type your domain name into your web browser and you will notice that the URL does not change. It will only change when you click on a link to be taken to a different page on your site. If you are having problems making this work correctly, The first thing I want you to do is to make sure that you have correctly typed in the first page of your site as index. If that was not done correctly, then this will not work. Also, unless you publish the site folder contents correctly, this method will not work. Before assuming that you did it incorrectly, try restarting your computer and checking again. You can also check the website on your phone to see if it works there. Sometimes it can take several minutes to several hours for some users to see the changes. If you are still having trouble, please send us an email. For more iWeb tips and tricks, please subscribe.